When I locked my daughter inside the wardrobe, she was still laughing happily, thinking it was just a game. Who would have imagined that confinement would last 20 years? 20 years later, I finally returned to my hometown with the intention of giving my daughter a proper burial. But as I approached the wardrobe, I heard my daughter's childish voice coming from inside. "Dad, you finally found me. Why did it take you so long?" 20 years ago, I locked my daughter in the wardrobe and then left the village with my wife and son. Now my son was about to get married. To attract good fortune, my wife and I consulted a fortune teller because we wanted to choose an auspicious wedding date. But after reading the hexagrams, the master's face turned extremely serious. "This reading is not right. Do you perhaps have another lost child somewhere?" Hearing that made me nervous immediately. I instantly exchanged glances with my wife. Seeing the alarm in her expression, I knew we were both thinking about the same thing. A son's wedding is an important matter. The whole family must be gathered to celebrate it. If someone does not return after this wedding, who knows what kind of problems may arise? What kind of problems? You'd better not ask. Even if I told you, you probably wouldn't believe me. But if this celebration is not carried out properly, then we may end up holding a funeral instead. I only ask one question. Does your family have another daughter? I nodded immediately. "Ah, then that's it. According to my calculations, she is still outside. Your daughter desperately wants to return home. That girl is truly no ordinary person." The master's words left me completely confused. My daughter had been dead for 20 years. How could she possibly want to return home? And how could she be an extraordinary person? Since ancient times, the dead are buried and the living return home. To properly celebrate a wedding, there cannot be even the slightest mistake. Go home first. When the entire family is reunited, come back to me so we can choose the bride. Seeing how firm the master was, we had no choice but to leave immediately. When we got home, my wife's face was filled with worry. She looked at me helplessly. "What are we going to do? We moved away 20 years ago. Shouty has been dead for a long time. We can't let this ruin our son's wedding. But how are we supposed to bring her home?" I grabbed my hair in frustration. I was also extremely distressed. Just because the future bride's family was wealthy and powerful, it had not been easy at all for our son to secure this marriage. And the influential in-laws were extremely particular about traditions. They repeatedly insisted that we consult a master to calculate an auspicious wedding date. But now this whole matter had stalled because of our daughter. I had to find a solution. Our daughter's name was Chen Xiaodi. If Xiaodi were still alive, she would be 32 years old this year. When Xiaodi was 12 years old, my wife Lin Chulan and I decided to go work in the city. It was already difficult enough for villagers to survive in the city, and taking care of 2 children would be an even heavier burden. If we don't take Xiaodi, taking our son alone is enough. But my parents died long ago. If we leave her here alone, who will take care of her? She doesn't need anyone to take care of her. We'll lock her inside the house and let her fend for herself. In the future, we'll act as if she was never born. My wife's words completely stunned me, yet she spoke as if it were perfectly normal. What's strange about it? How many girls in the village are abandoned by their parents the moment they're born? Even if she lived a few more years, she'd eventually just be sold to someone else. We've already done enough by raising Xiaodi until she was 12. Enough nonsense. I've made my decision, so just do as I say. Tomorrow I'll show you what you need to do the next day. We continued as usual, packing our belongings. Xiaodi and her younger brother ran around excitedly, constantly stuffing toys into the bags. The time for the car to arrive was getting close. Lin Chulan signaled to me with her eyes. I understood what she meant. Even so, in the end, I still approached my daughter. "Dad, I'm tired of packing. Since today I have free time, and it's rare that I can spend time with you. Let's play hide and seek." "I don't want to play yet. I haven't finished packing my things." "Big sister, I want to play hide and seek. Please play with me for a while." "All right." So pretending everything was normal, I played with them until Lin Chulan gave me another signal. I knew it was time to act. "Last round. This time it's big sister's turn to hide. Your younger brother and I will search for Xiaodi. You have to hide well, okay?" My wife also falsely added as she leaned close to our daughter's ear. "Don't worry, Xiaodi. Mom will take you to a great hiding spot for summer hide and seek. I guarantee they'll never find you." Then my wife took our daughter to the storage room. Apart from me and Lin Chulan, nobody knew there was a basement beneath the storage room. In that basement, there was also an abandoned old iron wardrobe. The moment I started counting, she was already inside. The wardrobe was thick and heavy. A child could never open it. When Lin Chulan came back up from the basement with Xiaodi, I saw she was holding a padlock in her hand. Shortly afterward, she climbed back upstairs alone. Then, following the plan we had agreed upon, that very same night, we reported to the police that our daughter had disappeared. Back then, human traffickers were extremely active. Lin Chulan cried bitterly in front of the officers, so nobody suspected we were responsible. 20 years passed in the blink of an eye. In truth, during all this time, we had returned to our hometown several times, but Lin Chulan and I had a tacit understanding. Neither of us ever mentioned the matter, and neither of us ever went down to see the basement. But now, because of our son's wedding, I had no choice but to go there. Did you hear what the master said about the dead needing to be buried? Xiaodi definitely hasn't been buried all this time. The master discovered it through his calculations. I'll go back and bury her in the family cemetery. Hopefully she'll finally rest in peace and stop affecting our son's wedding. You're right. What else can we do? We can't delay our son's marriage either. When she was alive, she was already a burden to the family, and now that she's dead, she's still causing trouble. We need to get rid of her and bury her quickly so her spirit stops wandering around. Right after that, I returned to my hometown that same night. The house was an old single-story building. It had all the electrical appliances, but I was afraid the neighbors might notice something strange, so I didn't dare turn on the lights during the whole process. I had to walk into the small storage room in complete darkness. The moment I entered the storage room, I felt something was wrong. It felt as though several doors were open. The wind blowing against my face was damp and cold. Worse still, I suddenly heard a loud banging sound. It scared me so much I nearly dropped the flashlight from my hands. But when I held my breath and listened carefully, several minutes passed, and the strange sound never came again. I could only comfort myself by thinking they were probably rats running around blindly after hearing someone come in. Thinking that, I continued forward. Nothing here had changed compared to 20 years ago. When I shined the flashlight around, all I could see was the large wardrobe in the corner. The wardrobe was covered covered in rust, with peeling paint scattered all over the floor. The padlock was still attached to the door, yet there was no smell of a rotting corpse. I suppose that after 20 years, the body had already decomposed beyond human form, and any odors that should have evaporated had long since disappeared. I sighed, trying to calm a guilty conscience that didn't truly exist. But just as I took out the key my wife had given me to open the wardrobe, a burst of laughter suddenly echoed out. I jumped in terror and quickly turned around, instinctively thinking someone was following me. "Who's there? Come out right now. Stop pretending to be a ghost." There was no response. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I could barely hold the flashlight steady. Trembling, I looked around wildly, thinking I couldn't let anyone discover my daughter's corpse, so I cautiously searched everywhere. But in the end, I found no one following me. Instead, I discovered a mummified corpse curled up in the corner. I couldn't tell whether it was a cat or a dog. I walked back toward the wardrobe and took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. I told myself I was simply too nervous and had imagined the sound. I took out the key again and continued unlocking the door. "Dad, is that you? I've been waiting for you for such a long time. I'm inside the box. Why did you take so long to come?" I hurt my hands from banging on it. It sounded exactly like Shouty's voice. Dad finally found me. Looks like I hid really well this time. It really was Chen Shouty speaking. What the hell was happening? Shouldn't Shouty have died long ago? "Dad, why aren't you answering me?" "Open the door quickly." How was that possible? In a sealed iron wardrobe for 20 years? Even if she hadn't suffocated, she would have starved to death. What the hell was inside that wardrobe? I want to get out. Hurry and get me out of here, Dad. I don't want to play hide and seek anymore. I want out. Open the door right now. I could no longer stand. I crawled out of the basement in terror. I didn't even dare go back to pick up the keys I had dropped. When I got home and described everything, Lin Chulan's first reaction was not belief, but suspicion. "San Wendonggu, are you too scared to buy it? Did Shouty make up lies on purpose?" Wow. If you don't want to bury her, just say it directly. Why make up ghost stories to fool people? How could something so strange exist in this world? I repeatedly insisted I wasn't lying, but no matter how much I explained, Lin Chulan simply refused to believe me. In the end, she stormed out angrily. Not long after she left, the future in-laws called, asking how the wedding preparations were going and whether I had consulted a master to choose the date. The in-laws were business people and cared deeply about feng shui, so they placed enormous importance on the wedding date. How could I possibly tell them the truth? I could only use my wife's illness as an excuse and promise that in a couple of days I would go consult the master about the date. After hanging up the phone, I pulled out several cans of beer, intending to drown my worries in alcohol. But even after several cans, I still couldn't stop thinking about what was inside the wardrobe, because I simply could not understand it. If it was a person, how could it survive 20 years inside a sealed wardrobe? If it was a ghost, how could it be trapped inside the wardrobe? Thinking about that, I eventually fell asleep in a daze. "Wendong, wake up! Wake up already! Get up now!" I really heard it. No, not only did I hear it, I also opened the wardrobe door. "The door? Who told you to open it? Then what did you see inside?" It followed me home.